2018 has been a phenomenal year for gaming. Whether you like it or not, it's hard to deny the popularity and dominance of Fortnite. Every few years we see at least one game become this big with more casual and mainstream audiences. In the past it was Minecraft and Grand Theft Auto 5, and at least for the time being, we're living in the age of Fortnite. Now, what's not often highlighted is the big bucks that these game developers bring in. Rockstar Games has made billions off of Grand Theft Auto 5. Mojang has made billions from Minecraft, even before being sold to Microsoft, and right now Epic Games is making billions with Fortnite. This is what I call hitting the lottery, and everyone else who is making games wants to make the next Grand Theft Auto 5, Minecraft, or Fortnite. Unfortunately though, these three games I just mentioned are outliers. Hundreds of games are released every single year from AAA game publishers, and most are just lucky enough to hit over a few million copies sold, but the issue is most of the big name publishers and their investors are seeking and even expecting Grand Theft Auto 5 numbers and sales with each and every single title. This year's big financial and critical successes include Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Spider-Man, A Way Out, Far Cry 5, and more, while the failures are Fallout 76, Battlefield 5, Black Ops 4, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Metal Gear Survive, Overkill's The Walking Dead, The Quiet Man, and more. I think this gaming industry is facing some serious issues that make me question the future of AAA gaming, but I'm not in the belief that things are crashing, as there are publishers who have been financially and critically succeeding for years, which include Sony, Rockstar Games, CD Projekt Red, and more. But there is a serious problem here in 2018 that I've seen with Electronic Arts, Activision, Bethesda, Capcom, Konami, Square Enix, Ubisoft, and more, which is ignorance. Yes, ignorance, which has contributed to these companies losing billions of dollars. Now there is a big difference with how each of these companies have acted ignorant this year. Konami thought that they could continue forward with a lousy Kojima-less Metal Gear asset flip, and that failed big time. Square Enix thought spending $135 million on the next Tomb Raider game and releasing it in a highly competitive fall 2018 was a smart decision. It was not. Capcom pushed in-game advertisements into Street Fighter V, a game that originally came with a full $60 price tag, and pretty much forced their player base to see the advertisements or lose out on content. They just the other day quietly backtracked on that sleazy monetization scheme. Ubisoft announced earlier this year that games are a thing of the past and live services are the way of the future, which should explain why every game they release has microtransactions and makes you question if by design the game is intended to feel grindy to tempt you into spending more money. 2K Games has tried making excuses for their greedy microtransactions in NBA 2K, saying that their virtual currency is an unfortunate reality of modern gaming and that they feel nowadays that most people don't have the patience to work their way to the top, they just want to be there right away. So we look at it as, oh, it's an opportunity for us to allow you to skip the grind, which video games are meant to be working and enjoying your way to the top, not spending a bunch of cash to skip ahead. If that is the case, then that's poor game design. Telltale Games, well, they don't exist anymore and can be added to the long list of now defunct gaming studios. But just among these few alive companies, you have over-monetization, greed, underperformance in sales, low-quality asset flips, and lots of lost revenue. But I now want to move the attention to the top dogs of 2018. The companies that are well in the title, but the ones that have had the biggest problems. That would be Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, and Electronic Arts. We'll start with Activision Blizzard, who may be the one gaming company who has always been able to dodge the spotlight after doing anti-consumer practices, usually with Call of Duty. But right now Activision is actively destroying what made Blizzard great. They are cutting costs and wanting more games released, so essentially quantity over quality, and we all know what that path will bring. This is all likely happening because Activision has had a bad year and Blizzard CEO Mike Morhaime is now retired. Besides just Blizzard's future being in question, you have Activision and Bungie at odds with the future of Destiny 2. Bungie seems to be happy with how Destiny 2 is going right now, while Activision is singing a much different tune, saying the title is underperforming and promising to push more microtransactions and monetization schemes to make up for the supposed lost profit. But then we have Treyarch's Black Ops 4 4, which already dropped a single-player campaign to cut costs and focus on the new, lucrative Battle Royale mode. Black Ops 4, like all recent Call of Duties, has been called out for its shady and pathetic microtransactions, which pretty much are a copycat of Epic Games' Fortnite Battle Pass, except there is one huge difference. Fortnite is free to play, and Black Ops 4 is not. It's a $60 AAA title. Additionally, Treyarch has managed to make their black market shop a grindy, greedy mess, which makes me sad knowing the days of playing a game and completing challenges to unlock cool items are over. But brilliantly, Activision and Treyarch introduced this pathetic system weeks after the game launched and after most reviews had already been written and most consumers had already purchased the game. But before all this, it was announced that Black Ops 4 generated $500 million in sales worldwide in its first 3 days of release, which was a disappointment to investors, causing the stock of the company to plummet 8.3%. Activision stock since the release of Black Ops 4 has taken a dump, nearly losing 50% of its stock price, which can partially be blamed on the whole tech stock market drop, but it's foolish to say that this is just that. Next we have is Bethesda, and their troubles really are just with everything surrounding Fallout 76.
The new game by Bethesda?
Bethesda.
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 Bethesda. Okay. The new game by Bethesda. Today we're talking about the new game by Bethesda Studios.
Rich Evans' pronunciation of Bethesda is about as broken as Fallout 76. Inside and outside, the game has been a total disaster. When the first Country Roads teaser trailer arrived in late May, very little was revealed and many were upset with Bethesda as they were accepting pre-orders without clarifying that Fallout 76 was not a typical Fallout game. This is where the troubles began and it has just kept going. Bethesda decided to do little to no marketing, relying on flying content creators and the media to the Greenbrier Resort to play the game early. The pre-order incentive of beta access was expected months before release, but it actually arrived just a few weeks before launch, and it really was not a beta. It was an early access period that, come release, nothing was changed. Then once release day came, players review-bombed the game, critics soon after delivered low-scoring negative reviews, and bugs, and more bugs. Since release, we've seen Bethesda under fire for their horrendous Bethesda Net refund policy, which makes it that if you download the game, you lose your right to a refund. Bethesda neglected to inform the purchasers of the $200 edition of Fallout 76 that they downgraded last minute the promised canvas bag to a cheap nylon. They then tried making up for their screw up with $5 of imaginary Bethesda money to those affected, but thanks to public outrage, they eventually promised to deliver on their original promise. During this canvas mess, Bethesda suffered a data breach, leaking personal information of customers. The Fallout 76 Microtransactions store has come under fire for ludicrous prices, reselling of many items from Fallout 4, and holiday sales scams. In the game's files, loot boxes with gameplay altering effects have been found, which prove that Bethesda at least has had plans, which again break their promise that they made to players before release of no loot boxes and nothing that is pay to win. All of this, and there's more, if you've been following the channel, there's just so much more that I could get into, but it all equals to poor physical and digital sales. Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax is a private company, so it's a little more difficult to understand how the company is doing, but being that in 2016 and 2017 Bethesda suffered multiple failures in sales with games like Dishonored 2, Prey, The Evil Within 2, and Wolfenstein 2 all performing poorly in sales, it's easy to believe and probable that the company is taking some massive losses and likely thought a rushed live service Fallout game could solve the financial troubles as of the last few years. But all it has done is create doubts about the future of the once beloved Bethesda game studios. But finally we move to good old Electronic Arts. 2018 has been an interesting year because EA started the year in chaos, as they were still dealing with the immediate fallout of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 disaster. But soon after, that problem somewhat went away, but EA being EA turned gamers against them just months later with the reveal of Battlefield 5. Comments soon after coming from EA executive Patrick Soden Soderlund proved to be divisive as he chose to make fun of those complaining about the game and additionally gave an ultimatum of buy it or don't for those not happy, which are exactly comments that someone in the entertainment industry should never say to their core audience. Overall, Battlefield 5 has been a sales disappointment, and you have to wonder how many people EA turned away with getting political with this World War II shooter. Outside of Battlefield, EA has also been the one publisher fighting hard against the loot box regulation that is starting to gain traction worldwide. Interestingly, like all Electronic Arts mistakes, this is a situation that is only happening because of the actions of themselves with Star Wars Battlefront 2 last year. But if loot boxes do in fact get regulated, EA will tank hard. The only reason why this company has thrived for so long is because of their FIFA and Madden Ultimate Team modes, which have made them billions off of the card packs. But studies and more research are starting to come about, painting a picture I and many have already seen for a while, which is that loot boxes are psychologically just like gambling. Currently, you have the United States, Australia, Belgium, the United Kingdom, and many more countries investigating loot boxes, and if this monetization scheme goes away or gets regulated, EA will be the most affected. But just looking here in 2018, with Battlefield 5 being delayed and not performing well, it has contributed to EA's stock tanking nearly 50% in value. In long term, the problem that will face EA is their focus on making games for shareholders, not gamers. At the end of the day, in 2018, these three game companies have lost billions of dollars by acting ignorant. EA still does not understand why they have such a crap reputation and don't seem to care trying to repair it. Activision Blizzard ruins everything it touches by being more and more greedy, and lastly, Bethesda potentially has destroyed its reputation by releasing one of the worst games of 2018. I'm a firm believer that greed is not sustainable, especially in the gaming industry. Companies should be entertaining, not dividing people. The biggest problem with that are investors and their precious fixation on growth. EA and Activision have skyrocketed to the top of this industry in the last decade, using shady monetization schemes, and I promise you they are not going to work forever, and no, it is not possible to keep growing without pushback. As much as game developers and publishers complain about the increasing cost to make games and why it's difficult to make single-player titles work in the AAA gaming landscape with just a $60 price tag, I think it's only a problem because the EAs and Activisions are not interested in their studios making a good quality $60 game that sells maybe 5 to 7 million copies. They want all the money in the world, they want people paying that $60 price tag for a mediocre live service game, they then want us to buy the DLC, the overpriced special editions, the merchandise, the microtransactions, the Mountain Dew limited editions, the premium currency, and so on and so forth. At the end of the game's life, they want each player to have spent hundreds and sometimes probably thousands of dollars. This model seems to be what most AAA gaming publishers want nowadays. But the thing is, over the years, each of these things I just mentioned, the premium currency, the microtransactions, each of these have slowly become more and more common in AAA gaming. It used to just be a $60 purchase and maybe a quality $15 DLC later, but nowadays it's suckering players into buying a $80 special edition and convincing them to spend money on microtransactions on a regular basis for quote-unquote free content. Now, I'm not ready to throw Bethesda into the EA and Activision boat yet, but they certainly tried following the live service train with Fallout 76 and failed big time. Maybe that changes later on, but for right now it's a disaster. What this AAA gaming industry honestly needs more of is games like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice and even Obsidian's upcoming The Outer Worlds. These are smaller games on smaller budgets that have and possibly will have massive success. These bigger companies, EA and Activision, face two huge problems, which one, they always expect each game to be a billion-dollar live service, and when that does not happen, they tank big time. And two, you have to wonder how much growth is left for this greedy model, because consumers are starting to wake up to this nonsense. Look, I fully expect that these stocks will probably rise back up next year, but I have serious doubts that long-term these companies will keep succeeding off the ways they rose to the top. Again, as I said before, hopefully Bethesda learns their lesson with Fallout 76, because among these three companies, I think Bethesda can bounce back and change, but for EA and Activision, I expect more of the same, which is unfortunate, but these companies have always operated off of greed, and that certainly will not change until it's probably too late. In conclusion, a lot of game companies this year have lost boatloads of money because of ignorance, and some of them, likely the top dogs, EA, won't adjust and learn from their mistakes, but will instead continue their screw-ups until they destroy themselves. Red Dead Redemption 2 was the big release of fall 2018, and dominated in sales because players knew Rockstar Games was delivering a massive, quality, story-focused experience. Spider-Man was right behind, as Insomniac Games created arguably one of the best open-world superhero games ever. The thing is, Electronic Arts, Activision, and Bethesda have the talent and resources to make experiences this grand in quality. They've done it before, but this fall they just expected people to buy into their big releases. And unfortunately for them, that wasn't what happened. And next fall, if the rumors are true, Cyberpunk 2077 could be more trouble for these companies if they repeat the mistakes they made this year. Anyway, how do you envision EA, Activision, and Bethesda's 2019? Do you think or expect more mistakes and failures in the next year? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.